Hey everyone, quick update on my knee. I want to follow up on my last video because on my last video, I wasn't in a very good mood about it. I was at 7.5 months and I did not like where it was headed. Now I'm at 8.5 months and shit's going really, really well. So I'm going to talk to you about that. And then I'm going to show you actual footage from the surgery, right? Where they like showed like the meniscus tear, and then some of the ACL repair. And I'll go through it kind of quick. It's a 20-minute long video, so I'm going to put it on fast speed and all that kind of stuff, right? So I don't want to waste too much of your time. But if you're curious as to what it looks like, you can't see it from the outside, unfortunately. And then they have a slideshow so you can actually see some of the things. Okay, and then all right. So where am I at? So at 7.5 months, I was like, dude, this isn't going the way that I want. I may never wrestle again. Now, the one thing that you can always expect from me on this channel, like it or not, right? And I think a lot of people not, is that I'm always going to tell you the truth. There's enough people out there that are lying to you to get you to watch their shit. And I am not going to do that. Like, I totally disagree with that. I think that there's way too many people teaching you stuff that they're not qualified to teach you. They're lying on their resumes, essentially. And then when it comes to like them talking in front of a camera, like it's always everything's perfect. Look at me, blah, blah, blah. That's not the real world. Okay. I was not in a good place a month ago at all. Like I thought I'm freaking done. My career's finally over. Like I would just take a step back and I had like so much pain from my knee locking out. Now all of a sudden I'm doing a month later, not even judo and started wrestling again. And it feels really freaking good. So I've been practicing a lot more judo. My daughter just got into judo and she's really young. She's only 7 and she's got a lot of ability. Like you can see it. My coach says it. And she likes it. And so doing a lot of newaza with her and the other people too, but just not like training really, really hard, just like making sure I'm still moving and things are okay. And then I started going back on my feet and I started moving and, chaining things together, push pull stuff and judo and then yesterday a little wrestling after a pretty hard practice. And like I'm back, like stuff is back. So I'm able to wrestle again. I'm actually amazed by it. And so, I am going to focus a lot more, I think, on judo. One, my daughter's into it, and I have to think about my future in terms of like, what do I want to do? Like, if she does want to do judo, I want to be able to do it with her. I want to be able to be good at judo so that when I do it with her, like, it's fun. And then I also, if she wants to learn how to wrestle too, I don't know if she will. We'll see how that goes. I want to be able to still wrestle with her. And so, I have to prioritize my life around important things, right? And that's really important to me. So my kids are important to me. So I'm really surprised that I could do what I could do. So I had Alec, he's been on the channel before, and I said, like, let me practice some, combos in judo. Yes, you practice combos. You can't just figure this shit out. You actually have to practice it. You actually have to drill it, believe it or not. And then I was doing some outside single shots, and I did some lift and trip stuff. And the reason I really wanted to test that was because when I do the lift and trip, right, like when I have my single with my right arm, right leg was doing the shot. When I lift, right, and I go to sweep the foot out, all my weight's on my bad knee, the left one, right, the one that I injured. And dude, like it felt fine. Like, so it looks like I'm back. I'm going to be cautious. I'm not going to just full blow mean I'm going to enter a freaking judo tournament right away, but because that was the goal last time. I did a turn throw, blew my fucking knee out, right? And then now when I do a turn throw, it's a little scary still, and I'm still not ready to do it 100% like with speed, but I was doing them, and I think it's more psychological than anything at this point. And I want to build up the strength around that to make sure that I can do a turn throw and not screw anything up, right? So 8.5 months, it's looking damn good. So let me screen share with you this really cool video, right, that I got from the doctor's office. So this is me, right? That's my name. These are the people. I'm not, just using somebody else's knee surgeries. Like I know somebody will probably say, how do I really know that view? How do I really know? You could have thrown me somebody else's stuff. So that's what it sounds like when people like try to argue with me in my head. So so let me show you the video clip here. Okay, so I have it at 4x here just because I want to sort of speed it up until I get to certain points that I know, Yeah, I know it's a little disorienting at first here, okay, but I'll show you when I recognize what's happening here at the 50-second mark. Okay, so right there, that's a big tear in my meniscus. Okay, and then he uh probes around at it and stuff later. I don't know if like there's a fold that's part of it, but you'll see that there's a big tear under there. And then he shows in another, so there's a tear under there. See that? I think that that fold is natural, but I'm not a freaking orthopedic, okay? Like again, I don't lie to you. I'm not an orthopedic, so I can admit I don't know what I don't know. um for some reason that thing just froze. Okay, so there's like ACL stuff. I'm gonna slow it down so that it won't freeze up. Um, and I still don't really know what I'm looking at, but you'll be able to see what he's shaving out of there. He's checking the, the tear and stuff. Now he goes over to the other side, and you can see, I think that's the other side, and you can really see the meniscus. So this is what's called a bucket handle tear. See that? And it's in a circle. So, and he's gonna, push that probe around in it to show. By the way, when I got the MRI, they couldn't see this at all. A radiologist, or I think that's who it is, says on the MRI that he thinks that I have a meniscus tear at what he said the root, but they did not know that it was this bad. This is bad. He told me that this surgery went on for hours longer than it was supposed to because of the extensive tearing, and he sews it back together. Okay, now like again, I'm not going to show you all of this because, like I said, it's not a short amount of film. Um, so sorry, it froze again. So now he's going in and he's just going to shave away with this tool all the old torn ACL. That's what he's doing right now. Okay, and like I said, I'm not an ortho, so I have no idea really what I'm looking at. I wouldn't be able to tell you, oh yeah, that's the ACL. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay. All I do know is that, this is for liability purposes too, where they show you what happened so that they could show you that you needed to get the repair done. The meniscus to me is a little easier to see. So this goes on for a while, okay, and I'm not gonna show you all of this, but what he does is that he cleans out all the old, right, ACL, and then he took my hamstring, right? Two tendons from my hamstring, and I'll show you how he did it because he took a photo of it. And then he stitched it, and then he put the ACL in there right after they made it. After they took out my hamstring tendons, they make a braided ACL. They put that in there, and then he sewed my meniscus together, which I think he might have done before he actually did the ACL. Doesn't matter. So anyway, so this goes on for a while. Okay, so I just want to. Okay, so all right, so he's finishing up here, okay, chewing all this stuff out of here. And, I can now see why afterwards, post-surgically, why it hurts so bad, because there's not a lot of space to work in, right, to like sew the meniscus back together. And so all those tools in there for this long period of time, man, that's just like gotta cause a ton of inflammation, and they're shooting that fluid in there. So he's gonna lift this up. Like I said, I think that that's really natural. Again, like I said, I don't know, but there's the behind there, right where you can see the probe. That's where the tear is, right? Because it's not really nice and smooth. And then so he's gonna stitch it back together. And I can't actually in the video they don't actually show all the stitching. I would have liked to have seen what it looked like, after they stitched it all back together. I'll show you the slideshow though, because that goes pretty quick. But yeah, so there he's going to assess it. I don't know if that's a different side or if that's just a different angle, but he did tell me that he had to stitch the medial and lateral meniscus back together because there were bucket handle tears on both sides. So, and apparently that's what caused the vast majority of the length of my recovery. But like I said, 8.5 months, right? I'm actually capable of doing stuff on my feet again. Not like with good wrestlers, but with BJJ guys, because I don't need to do a lot. No offense, but I mean, I did wrestle at a high level, so I can just maintain a stance and block 99.9% of just about everything. So I'm pretty much at that level again. But I'm not going to be walking into University of Michigan's wrestling room and wrestling with D1 wrestlers at my age, okay? Or in the condition that I'm at. Before I got hurt, that would have been a bad idea. Now it would just be stupid. So I gather that, this tool's helping him sew that together. And you can see the size of that, like, suture, man, that they put in there. I mean, and it's a tight space, right? Like I can't tell. I don't know if that's my femur or my tibial head, but no, I think that that's the bone there. And it's a tight space to work in, so it beat me up pretty good. Okay, so let's go to the uh slides, and then this is only like 38 seconds long, right? And so you'll be able to see at the end they show the ACL, which is pretty wild. They don't show the removal of it and everything, but you can see the tear in there, right? And there's where they're showing the ACL, that needs to be repaired. um Yep, and so that suture twine that stays in there forever. That doesn't dissolve. There's no real blood supply in this thing, so I guess that's the closest that I can see to where he's, sewing this bucket handle tear back together. From what, yeah, it's pretty nasty. From what he tells me, that was an extremely extensive one, not like the most he's ever seen or whatever, but he said it was pretty bad and that he had to repair it. He said if he didn't repair it, I would be screwed, like, and I wouldn't be able to really wrestle again. And he's glad that he got in there to fix the ACL, because if I hadn't gotten the ACL surgery done, he wouldn't have known how bad my meniscus tear was, because it didn't show up on an MRI, which is kind of mind boggling to me. They couldn't see it. That's my ACL, by the way, the new one. So they take two hamstring tendons out, and you can see that they attach these strings to it. And the only reason I know this is because I saw videos before I got my surgery done on what this looks like. And everybody does it a little bit differently, but when they take the hamstring tendons out, right, some people braid it, some people do other things. And then they attach like all this suture to it and shit, dude. And then they literally pass it through your knee, like one side to the other, and then they anchor it in place. And then that's your new ACL. That's why my hamstring took, a while. It's still strengthening. It's getting a hell of a lot better. The hamstring is not 100%, but you can see why. They took two of my freaking tendons out, right? So it's amazing it works at all. I would say that my hamstring is approximately 80% or so the strength of the other one, and that may be an overestimate. And then my quad is roughly 100%. So, and I was really fortunate I didn't atrophy that much. Okay, and then so I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what I'm looking at. So, because I'm not a orthopedic surgeon, but that was it. Okay, and so it's extensive. It's why I wasn't supposed to be running on it, right? When the PT guy had me running on it, and then he told me no more PT. But I had learned, essentially what the exercises are, and then I have a gym at my house, right? So I have just basic stuff. I have leg extension, leg curl. I have a squat rack and everything. I do belt squats, which I have a video on why I don't do regular squats. I can squat the same weight that I was squatting before the injury on the belt squat, right? And I prefer to actually do high reps for my legs anyway. And so it's all coming back together. And so if this might help you, I hope that it does. That's my whole purpose of this channel, is just to help you. And let me know if you've ever had an ACL injury, like, what was your road to recovery? Because I think it's good for people to hear a lot of different versions of the truth, right? So different other people's truth, their story, so that they can kind of get an idea of what is it that I'm looking at, right? Because if you had listened to me a month ago, you would think, well, he's done. He's never wrestling again. But I'm 3 weeks later, I'm at it, And so, and I'm, by the way, yesterday, man, like I was just laying in bed. I couldn't go to sleep because I was just thinking about how freaking grateful I was that I'm almost 45 years old and I can still do this shit. Right. And like, yes, I've put a lot of time and energy into maintaining my body. I mean, it's a huge chore, but, uh, grateful as hell because I can still do it and I have purpose to do it, right? I want to get really good at judo. I want to be there for my kids who want to do judo and wrestling. And if they decide that they don't want to do it, that's fine too. I'm not going to push them like I was. And but anyway, so thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll hopefully have some more wrestling videos for you now that I know that I can be on my feet. There are some things I held back on because I couldn't twist, but I think I'm back there soon. And stay tuned, and I'll hopefully have some updates for you. Thanks.